being honest with yourself, you're willing to see if there's a flaw somewhere. If you see the flaw, you ask yourself why, and then you try to work through that particular problem and try to solve it. If you don't have that self-awareness of like, everyone's telling me I'm great, but I know that there's room for improvement or places to fix things, I have to be aware of myself enough and willing to adjust my ego to be aware that there needs to be changes.
You know, when you're 3 years old and you're in a sandbox and somebody pushes you over and you drop your ice cream cone and you act like that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in the world.
Which it is.
It is. Like nothing that bad has ever happened to you before, and you react that way, it's a reasonable response.
Because there's so many outside influences that can affect any circumstance. Player A fucked me. This person didn't do what I needed them to do. That shit's gonna happen. You're gonna face things that are unfair.
Hey guys, in this episode I'm joined by Mike Maxwell. He is a fine artist and illustrator based out of San Diego. You most likely know him for the guy or the artist that did the logo for the Joe Rogan podcast. We're also talking a little bit about how his experience with teaching and practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has influenced his life and his creativity. I really enjoyed my conversation with Mike. Also, he was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I highly recommend checking out that episode as well. By the way, this content is brought to you by the courses I have on Progo.com. I've worked with Ryan Benjamin, Michael Hampton, and Morgan Weistling on developing some courses. And if you use the code Christian20 for the next month or so, you will be able to get 20% off. So if you'd be interested in that, consider checking that out below in the description. Thanks so much for clicking, and I hope you enjoy the video.
I appreciate being here.
Yeah. Well, so I guess the way I've been starting these things, it's like, you know, the last time we talked, the purpose of this whole podcast is more to talk about the why of doing art.
Yeah.
And more about the process of it. Yeah. And I think often people get caught up in like the end result, you know, like what am I going to get? Like, what are the accolades that I'm going to be receiving from this thing?
Sure, yeah.
And, you know, but I think the way you actually get there is just focusing on doing the art, doing like things outside of art that are challenging, you know, like I've been getting all into cycling over the past few years, and I feel like that's had a really big impact on just how I am creatively.
Yeah.
And I know that you're really into, you know, MMA and, is it MMA or
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Okay, yeah. But it's still like it's not art related, but I suspect that you would say it might.
Yeah, I think it triggers the same part of the brain. It's the creative problem solving aspect of these other activities, and I think it works almost in the same way that like it's like you're working out a muscle. So even if you're not doing the activity, but you're using the same part of the brain, I feel like it strengthens that part of the brain and basically giving you extra ability when you go to a different medium, a different subject matter, you know, like a different activity altogether. But if it like comes from that same part of the brain, I'm also not a neuroscientist, but that's kind of how I've seen it. Like I like to golf too, and it's like the same problem solving techniques that you figure out how to use your body, figure out how to achieve a goal, work through the hows, the whys, the fuck ups, like, oh, okay, I don't do it like that. And I think it applies to any of those sort of creative practices. It doesn't have to be a visual art, doesn't have to be music. Like if you're strengthening that part of the brain, you'll see it affect the other ones, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I feel like, you know, doing this podcast has been really strange for me because I've been able to see it like happen in real time, like the getting better of it. Yeah. Something growing. Like some of the podcasts that I've recorded are like going up to like 200,000 views or something. Yeah. It's like, and it's not, I don't credit that to me at all. I just credit to like the longevity of doing the thing. Like,
yeah, sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and paying attention to like little things like, oh yeah, the audio quality sucks, or, you know, changing, like the video quality, or, you know, just doing little adjustments over time, over a few years that compile and end up being this huge thing. And in the moment, it really doesn't feel like you're doing a lot of work, but yeah, like again, over a few years, you're making these massive...
You're building up a self-awareness too.
Yeah.
Like you're being honest with yourself. You're willing to see if there's a flaw somewhere.
Right.
If you see the flaw, you ask yourself why, and then you like try to work through that particular problem and try to solve it, and you strengthen as you go, which like makes sense. And I mean, that's the biggest thing. You just have to keep working, even in the face of adversity and struggle.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately where you grow. Nothing about the art world comes easy.
It's all hard. Yeah. Well, especially nowadays, it's like it's so easy to compare yourself to other people,
Yeah, because there's such a like broad spectrum of visibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be tough. I mean, I still struggle with that even after 25 years.
Right.
And I think when you fall into that mode of thinking, you have to work yourself back and just be like, okay, focus on what I could do now, focus on what I actually do, and try to ignore all the noise.
Right.
I know it's not easy, but I think if you get back to just focusing on your work, then it becomes more manageable, I suppose.
Well, and I think the interesting thing there too is like, I saw that like Quentin Tarantino bought one of your paintings and stuff.
Oh, no. That Joe Rogan bought that piece,
Well, yeah.
and he was interviewing. It's funny. He was interviewing Quentin for his show,
Right.
and I'd been breaking his balls because I was like, "Send me a picture of the piece up in the studio. I want to see the thing, whatever." And he kept meaning to do it and kept like just forgetting or whatever. And then he finally took the picture, and he said, "Oh, I thought it'd be even cooler since I took so long to have Quentin Tarantino in the photo."
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
still, I think with that, it's like I think a lot of people, again, going back to that validation thing, they think that like once a certain person buys your work, or you're hired by a certain company, or your stuff is seen by X amount of people or something, then that feeling or those feelings of self-doubt and fear go away. But
Yeah, it doesn't.
which is crazy. It's like, I think the thinking that there is no light at the end of the tunnel, that the fear is always there, and the only thing that changes is your ability to cope with the fear.
Yeah. It really it doesn't change, and maybe there's some like incremental steps there. It's like, oh, okay, I accomplished one new task, but the tasks are never ending.
Yeah.
Like you have to just keep going.
Right.
Like there's no be all end all to like solve the art making conundrum, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's like, it always goes back to just like loving the process as much as you possibly
You
can.
have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Even if you hate it, but you feel like you have to do it, that's fine. You don't even have to love it,
Right.
right? But you have to have the need to do it,
Right.
which is inherent in all like artists who I think are, I use the term real artists, but I don't really even subscribe to that terminology.
Right.
But just for the sake of conversation, it's more a semantics thing, I guess. But like, I don't think that if you are just doing it for fame or money, it's not enough. You have to have that inner like drive to have it.
Yeah.
And it's okay to, if you have that and also want to be famous and rich, fine. That's fine. But if you don't have that internal drive to keep creating, like that you have to do it or you lose your goddamn mind.
Right.
It doesn't seem as plausible.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that I've been talking about with people is like, if you have the option between like jet skiing and like playing video games and hanging with your friends and doing things that you want to do, or painting has to be the thing that you would choose above jet skiing, skydiving.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, that's hard. That takes work.
Yeah. And it may even just be ingrained. I don't know if that's like a learned process, which is weird because I always hate when people are like, oh, you were born with a gift. Born with kind of a nightmare of like an obsession, right? Versus like, oh, here's this ordained skill set that you have. It's not really like that. You have to keep working at it to get better. Like we were saying, like you have to like be self-aware enough to know that you suck, and then want to, accomplish not sucking anymore, or at least sucking a little less each day, So like that drive has to be there, or otherwise you're just going to flop.
Yeah. Oh no. And whether or not you suck, that's the important part. And it's like also accepting that you will always, in some degree.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like I've noticed it a lot in, say, like the San Diego art community. Like and maybe elsewhere, just this is all I know. But there's a tendency to, get smoke blown up your ass a little bit, like to where somebody will just be like, "Oh, that's great, you're so good," but maybe it's not so, right? Like I still like I'm still trying to get better every day for the last 25 years, and maybe I like what I was making 15 years ago was good at that time, but it's not good now. Right. And you might get people telling you, "Oh, you're great." Like your mom might be like, "You're the best artist who's ever existed." And you might believe that. Right. So if you don't have that self-awareness of like, here's like, everyone's telling me I'm great, but I know that there's room for improvement or places to fix things. I have to be aware of myself enough and willing to adjust my ego to be aware that there needs to be changes, right? Like I think a lot of people get told that they're great and believe it.
Right.
Which, I mean, nobody wants to be rude and tell you that you're terrible, but maybe sometimes can have a benefit, unless you have this like innate self-awareness.
Yeah.
And a willingness to look at it with open eyes, or, just to not put yourself in a space where you just believe all the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I feel like the people that I've met, though, that are the most successful, like the most financially successful, what most well known as artists, are almost like arrogant or like naive in the way that they perceive themselves.
Yeah.
They're like unwilling to admit that the thing that they're doing is like stupid or bad or something, and just brute force it to the point where they're like, "Oh, I'm successful now."
Yeah, that's sort of like the Donald Trump method, right? Where like no matter what, you just say I'm the best. But there's the kids who are coddled from a young age and just told that they're the best at everything, and it forms into these sort of narcissistic megalomaniacs that think they're God's gift to the world.
Right.
I mean, it gets dangerous if you find yourself in a place of power. I was listening to this guy talk about, there's this theory, and I wish my memory was better. I can't remember the name of it or the person's name who created the theory or whatever, but in like, it was in the context of art, but I think it could be used in music or whatever. And he was saying how there's just like there's like a 10% grouping of people who end up being successful, while the other 70%, well, there may be like mid-level artists, like they're like the top 10% are making the top 90% of the sales, like the cash,
right?
And the other 70% are just kind of like feeding and staying at a sort of
scraping by,
and like staying at the same pace, sort of, and it expands through
everything, right?
Yeah, through a regular job. So.
Well, and the universe too.
Yeah. So it's like it's that like those arrogant assholes somehow take up that little 10% spot and take most of the cash, to where the medium level artist who's at the top end of the 70% is really not making that much more money or making more sales than the person down towards the bottom of that 75%. It's like that gap is really small. And then if it were a graph chart, right, it'd be like pretty straight and then spike for that last 10%.
Boy, I've been like I guess a lot of my podcast is talking about that specifically. Like I've been talking to a bunch of people who sell like fan art prints at conventions, you know, and they can make really good money doing that. And it's the same sort of thing, you know. It's like
Yeah.
5% of the population will make 95% of the money,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like I think when pushing up against that, it's like if you want to make this a living, it's like what do you do about that, you know? And well, when I talk to them, their answer when I ask them their advice is something like just longevity. You know, they were there for the longest and they were willing to like adjust and change their business,
Yeah.
you know, and it's strange. I don't know. It's like, it's both like the combination of being like just doing the work, keeping your head down while also like being able to separate yourself from the work objectively, you know?
Yeah. And that's kind of the part of that self-awareness too, is like, do I see myself living in a $10 million mansion?
Right.
Or am I able to be happy and content with a sort of middle road? Right? Like, obviously, we strive to do the best that we can. But do I expect it? Like, in my mind, am I saying I deserve that upper 5%? And maybe I think that, but am I also engaged enough or like committed enough to be like, I might only stay in this middle road?
Yeah.
And will that be enough for me?
Right.
You know? And for me, I think yes. Like,
Yeah.
as long as I'm able to, you know, thrive to a certain level to where like I could pay my bills and I can eat and I don't really have to be in hyper panic mode of like what's going to happen next. I still face that. Like I'm not even there yet. I think like the road of being in the art world is like it's a roller coaster.
Right.
It's not a straight line, at least not for me. Maybe it's different for other people.
I think it's like I had a Richard Taylor on the podcast like a year ago, and he's the guy that founded Weta Workshop and stuff and the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
And he was telling me he has nights where he will stay up because he's panicking about, you know, some giant thing he made on a movie that's like, oh, I fucked up here and it's horrible. You know, it's like 500 people are going to lose their job and stuff. And I think that feeling doesn't go away. You know?
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. Which again, it's like, it's both scary, but also a little bit liberating that it's like.
And what's, from my own experience, what's really strange is I know that intuitively.
Yeah.
I've had the experience of all these ups and downs, and yet still the ups don't quite seem real. Right. And the bottoms, like it's almost like amnesia.
Right.
Like I know I've been here, but this one, like that you're in, is like end of the world.
It's all over.
It's what else can I do?
Yeah.
And I think there's a point of trust that.
Right.
And I'm saying this almost like a hypocrite because like there's times that I don't trust it, but I think you have to trust that if you're at the bottom of a slope, that it's going to go back up.
Yeah.
You know, like, it'll seem like it's not, but it inevitably will as long as your practice stays the same.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is that faith just to keep showing up no matter what. Like,
yeah.
I think that even if you're getting success, there is still, I think if you're selling paintings or getting views on something or, you know, just people are liking whatever you're doing, there is that impulse to like change it in some way or to like, you know, to appeal to people or whatever. And I think resisting that urge is also really difficult, you know?
I have that bad to where, and I don't know if it's, I'm not trying to say, appease anybody else, but more myself to where it's like, if I've done something for a while, like a particular like style of painting or like some ideas that I'm running through, if I feel like I've ran through them, then I'm like, I want to do something else. Like, so like right now, my last 4 or 5 months, maybe the last 6 months or so, the last year, I guess, of this year, have been I want to be a little bit more painterly.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a little less illustrative, still keeping my style, but be like work at being a little more painterly. And I've done that, and I've achieved some new things that I wasn't doing before. I've figured out some new techniques, new ways of painting, and now that I've like accomplished a little bit of that, I'm like, I just want to do something illustrative,
Right.
right? And I'm going to because, and I've been having this little battle in my head too of like, oh, I've been running down this angle, like exploring these ideas for a little bit. And now, like, I just want to do something illustrative.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm going to do it because if I have the internal thought and like the gut feeling, then I know that I should follow that.
Yeah. Well, I think that just, throughout, like just having creative career at all, so much of it is just intuitive. Like,
Yeah.
I think, again, my problem with art school or any sort of like, regimented system of learning anything is that there is no path to actually understanding something, like especially with art. Like you can't just tell someone to learn how to draw the head and then they go and make some
Yeah.
piece of art that moves somebody. There has to be something else there, some other context other than like Andrew Loomis or Bert Hogarth.
And everybody's in their own lane.
Yeah.
So you could learn what somebody else did, and maybe that applies to you, but really you got to find your own path along the way.
Yeah. And it's all just based off your interests, It's
Yeah.
like, for me, like I love recording these podcasts. Like I'd rather be doing this than doing some like painting or YouTube video or on like how to teach somebody or something.
Yeah.
And that's just like, there might be a more efficient way of making money or growing my audience or something, but this is like what I prefer to do.
Yeah.
And I think like following that gut instinct for me is like, it prevents me from burning out. It actually makes me do the work because like I'm pretty lazy, honestly. It's like I'll skip stuff and all that. And something somebody told me years ago was something like, if somebody wants to be a runner, like a professional, or like if they want to go run a marathon, the wrong advice is to go tell them to run 10 miles a day. It's like if they're actually no one's actually going to do that,
Right. Yeah.
even though it's like the correct advice.
Yeah.
The actual advice is to go like get off your couch and walk to the end of the room, or like do whatever you're willing to do,
Yeah. Get started.
Yeah. And I think I've just been focusing on like, what am I actually willing to do versus like, what's the most logical thing to like, make the most money or
Yeah. I think for me, it's what I feel like I will obsess on in some way. Like I'm getting ready to start a new painting. The drawing is just, it's like chaos. And I was transferring my drawing onto the panel yesterday, and I took about 4 breaks in between because like my wrist was hurting. It was like I need to get up and stretch, like really intricate and detailed. But I sensed the little like fire in my gut, like forcing me to complete it.
Right.
So it's basically like a landscape and then like a profile image of this old man on the side. And like I drew in the old man, and at that point I was like, I could stop and like sit, like look at my phone or, do something else or whatever. But I have this like, but it feels like a fire, like right in my abdomen of like forcing me to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Almost like not even a conscious like choice, but like a necessity, which might be some like neurodivergent thing, but it keeps me focused enough to continue that process.
Right.
Where like my laziness, because I'm lazy, I have a ton of laziness too.
Yeah.
To where I could easily be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch YouTube or something. And instead I say, no, we have to feed this little burning fire and make it stop. I get so much joy and like dopamine in my brain by completing something.
Yeah.
That's maybe where the fire in my abdomen started, to where like that value is so high for me that like I search it out.
Yeah. Well, I feel like for me that's the only thing I'm really trying to cultivate. And like it's part of the reason why I think that like doing things outside of art are so important. Like for me, I've been getting into like cycle touring. So like I was in New York last month riding my bike from like Fairfield, Connecticut to Boston over like 3 or 4 days. And I think it's like, it might be like the same part of your brain that like goes off when you're like fighting or something, where you're like, you're in between, you're, 30 or 40 miles into a bike ride and you have 20 or 30 miles left and you're super you feel like you've given everything. You can't stop because you don't have a place to sleep. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, because to go back would be the cost you the same.
Yeah, exactly.
To accomplish.
Well, and it's like I'm sure it's the same thing for Brazilian jiu-jitsu, where it's like you have to, you're in the moment with somebody. You have to actually put yourself like you have to try. Otherwise, you're going to get choked out or you're going to lose or something. If you're if you're in a competition or something, someone's actually going to try to hurt you.
You think you were about to finish somebody in 2 minutes and you're now out of gas.
Right.
But you look at the clock and you still got 3 minutes to go. You got it.
Yeah, it has to come from somewhere.
You can't just lay down and die. I mean, I guess you can, but it's not going to feel great.
Well, and I think like for me, I feel like I have to practice that, like when I'm in my room by myself, like I have my, sodas over there and my video game, YouTube.
Yeah.
I could just like lean on that stuff. But when I'm not practicing that impulse of pushing past that stuff and ignoring it, then I'm less likely to listen to that inner fire or listen to myself and just keep doing that.
Because you reach those goals and you see the reward in it, right? You feel it. Yeah. Like, there's something about making like even the tiniest accomplishments have so much value.
Right.
And I think even for mundane things like taking the fucking garbage out or doing the dishes or like, finishing a drawing,
right?
Completing a certain mileage on your bike,
right?
Like accomplishing that, it does so much for our brain and like our confidence, our abilities. I always think of like back to like the roller coaster analogy. I always think of things that I've accomplished as a way to realize when I'm not accomplishing anything, what's possible. So if I've done something once, I could do it twice, right? And I think you grow so much from these little minor accomplishments. Like I've made a big mural. I could do that again.
Yeah.
Even when your insecurities might be saying, oh, everything's fucked. Right. This is never going to happen again. We have it once, it can happen again. Right. And so I always think about that when I'm in like a low spot, whatever.
Well, and I think again, it's that like that faith or that just like, I don't know, just letting yourself ask, letting yourself like, it's like, I think people go and they catastrophize and they think the worst possible thing that's going to happen that stops them from doing things. And I'm trying to practice the idea of like flipping that and just thinking like, what if I did this and the best possible thing happens, Yeah. And I think that like, again, like recording the podcast for me has been really interesting and strange because like in the moment, it feels like we're just having a conversation, Then it goes and like maybe 20,000 people see it or something. And that's like a miracle, you know? Maybe like 1 million people see it or whatever. And you really don't know while you're doing the thing, And it's like, but in order to even have it, like for it to have a chance of doing that, you need to like put in the work. You need to have driven here, we needed to like schedule this. And
that's the same thing. You got to paint.
Yeah.
If you want to sell paintings, like you've got to make work.
Yeah.
You got to be in there willing to use that time and space as a way to procure that future scenario of I'm going to sell a painting, I'm going to have a piece in a gallery or, whatever. You got to get in there and grind.
Well, and I think whether it comes from like, you need to do this to survive, or because you love it, it's like, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Yeah.
Because if you love it, you want to survive from it anyway. Like, I think, but that's something to say that like you can't subsidize yourself in a way, right? Like you can still make art full time and have a part-time job.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of different ways to survive and still be creative. I mean, the ideal is to be able to just focus on the creative all the time, but it's probably even more rare than it is common,
Yeah.
right? Like most people, like especially if you live in California, shit is expensive. Like you have to be able to make other money when, you know, if art sales are slow one month or whatever. So like there, you don't have, I feel like there's this like conscious need to be like, this is me, when, especially when we make it our identity, you know, of like, I'm an artist, I do this for a living, like this is how I survive.
Right.
Like being able to diversify, I think can be important for longevity.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think it goes back to like the ego and just sustainability. Like you don't necessarily have to be like doing the work that you think you want to do in order to be completely validated by it. Like I've been surprised by just how much I've enjoyed just editing YouTube videos for other people. That's making a lot of my income, and it's like, I'm not the driving factor or like the person that's getting the recognition and stuff, but it's cool to see like, oh, this is working for someone else. You know? Yeah. Or and it sounds corny, and you know everyone says this, but I think it's like if you're able to be gracious for what you have, you know, and express gratitude, and then that creeping nihilism just goes a lot slower, you know.
Yeah, and I think what we said before, like when you are overanalyzing what's happening with other people and then trying to associate it with yourself and what's happening with you, it can be so distorting, and it can be demoralizing. It can, you know, be depressing and like cause you, like you said, to just say fuck it and hit the brakes and not do anything instead and just go play video games. Sometimes I have to drag my ass out of bed. Right. Like I wake up every morning, I work, you know, 6, sometimes 7 days a week in the studio, and some days like I don't want to do it. Yeah. But I think to myself, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Sit around, fucking waste a day? Yeah. Fuck it, I'm going to go. Right. Like, and drag my ass out of bed at 8 a.m. when I don't want to, where I was just like, oh, I could just sleep another hour and say, fuck it. No, get my ass out of bed, take myself to the studio. And maybe I don't even accomplish anything in the studio. Yeah. But I got there. Right. You know, I'm thinking about something for sure. I'm trying to like analyze what I'm going to do, but maybe I don't accomplish anything when I'm there, but I still brought myself there. And I think that's what you have to do. Right. I don't know. Unless you got a studio full of assistants, so you just make them do all the fucking work. Yeah, like Thomas Kincaid or something. Well, I don't know. I like Thomas Kincaid as like a character, you know. And it's interesting to see how successful he was, just being like, just pure business guy. Interesting little historical blip in the art world history.
Yeah, it's so strange. He's involved in the whole like. Do you know James Gurney? Do you know who that is?
Yeah. I can't. I'm terrible with names, but
Dinotopia, like the dinosaur guy.
Yeah.
Like him and Thomas Kincaid were besties when they were younger, and apparently they did like train hopping and stuff when they were younger. Really? Yeah, they train hopped across the country.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It's really strange. But I guess it's like I think 90% of anything is just showing up, like being successful at something. Like I suspect if like I did Brazilian jiu-jitsu every day for the next year, I'd probably be like 20 times better than I am today. If I just went to a class and just like gave 20% effort or something, you know? Yeah. Cause it's like you go and you will like surprise yourself by how interesting something can be. If you just,
I think with jiu-jitsu, the hardest thing is to get on the mats. Yeah. Like even as a practitioner over the years, like I would notice I'd be like, I don't want to go. This is going to suck. I'm going to sweat. It's going to be hard. Yeah. I get my feet onto the mats, and then by the time it's over and I'm leaving, I'm so grateful that I just got out the door, walked into the gym, and did the fucking thing. Yeah. But everything leading up to it is like, no.
Horrible.
No, don't do this. This sucks. Why am I doing this? What is the fucking point? Yeah. And then by the time you leave, you're like, oh, thank God I went and did that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard people talking about like whether it be joining a sports team or like joining an art studio or something, just having other people there that are accountable for you. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you're teaching that class or something and you don't show up, then
Yeah.
that's lame, you know?
Yeah.
Or if,
That's yeah, it's like if I don't show up at the studio,
yeah,
they'll be like, "Where's Mike been?"
yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. There is some accountability there. You have to have enough self-shame
Right.
to recognize
yeah, right.
that people are judging you.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's like if you just put yourself in that position to where you're just doing the thing every single day in whatever way, like even just doing a single stroke on a piece of paper, just one pencil stroke, it's like that is like literally infinitely better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been drawing little handmade stickers for like the last month.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it comes like the pack comes with like 50 of them, or maybe it's like 75 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, every night I'm going to sit down and like draw out 3 or 4 of these little stickers and then put them in the pack. And then eventually my goal was like, just complete the pack.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, like every night while I was just sitting around watching TV at the like after eating dinner or whatever, just draw a couple of them. And I noticed that it's like, that gives me like a weird sense of relief, because I think I have a little bit of like the ADHD guilt when I leave my studio.
Yeah.
So even if I'm in there for 8 hours, the minute I leave, I have this feeling like, I shouldn't have left yet.
Right.
Like there's still more to do. And it's like my instinct is like, go back.
Right.
But I know that I know that I need to eat food and
Yeah.
rest and to let my brain fucking chill the fuck out, because it's been working 8 hours straight or whatever. But yeah, that like weird guilt to go back is funny.
Yeah. Well, again, I think it's always the balance thing. Like, I think if you were to do that every day for a few months, you know, just stay there for 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
You would get more work done for 3 months, but then
Then
at a certain
burn
point,
out.
then you burn out. Your body starts, just failing you a little bit.
That's a hard thing to come to grips with, finding that balance and being okay with it. But I think that, to your point, like that balance should be even towards the work and the like off time.
Yeah.
I guess. Because if you got more off time than you do work time, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
If you're burning yourself out, you're probably going to end up making shitty work too.
Yeah.
Like, because you're just grinding when you should be giving yourself some rest and some time away, and you're probably just pushing it.
Right.
And maybe even like not as in tune with it, or not putting your full heart into it.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like people do waste a lot of time, like with busy work, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just using myself as an example with these podcasts and stuff. Like I've not changed the way I've recorded the conversations at all. I've changed like the thumbnail and title of the actual YouTube video and the audio quality, and then the first like 30 seconds, and the views went up like way more, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when we did ours, it got like 1,000 views or something, but now the podcasts are averaging between like 5 and 10,000. And it's like, it's not, again, it's,
What do you think the difference is?
it's presentation for sure.
Really?
It's like, I think on YouTube especially, or like people are like, when it's just like Sketchy Van podcast number, whatever, and then the person's name, there's no context there. There's no question that's being asked. Whereas like now the thumbnails and titles are like more clickbaity. It's like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like how to get a job at this.
Yeah. How to be the best human being who ever lived.
Well, it's like, of course you want to click
Can
on
we
that.
use that as the title?
Yeah, well, for sure. How to not be a piece of shit from 2 pieces of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's like it's strange because it's like it feels like once I shift, it's like 5% of the work, or changing the way I did 5% of the work, change like the output by 10 times or something.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
interesting.
And I think it's like, for me, it's like when I try to focus on being precise with the way I spend my time, I end up getting more out of it versus just doing the busy work just because I think I have to, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's that balance of being like analytical with the way things are being done, but also still like not overanalyzing things to the point where,
Yeah, because I wonder, is that experimental? Do you go, okay, if I do this
right?
in the not so busy way, I mean, you don't know for sure that it's going to increase the views by tenfold or whatever, but you try it,
Right.
and then you see a result. Like you didn't presume the result ahead of doing those small tasks. But now that you know it, you can add it as a tool, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's that like little experiment, like you don't know, you're like walking through a forest blind, and you have like an idea of what's going to do better and what's going to do well, and you try something, and then you listen to it, and then you keep going down that path, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess it's that willingness to just be open to like listening to the ideas and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's what I feel like I talked about a bunch on the last one, is like the ability to ask yourself questions,
Yeah.
not knowing the answer. It's so strange. It's almost like there's two live beings in our brain,
Right.
to where I have this issue all the time of where I'll ask myself a question and somehow my brain responds like as if it were some other
Person, right?
sentient being besides me, but it's in my brain, and it's my brain giving me the answers that I'm asking it, which is so, it's almost like an AI in our brain.
Totally. Well, I you know, again, I don't want to sound too corny or anything, but there was like a thing that Socrates said where it's like, he said that all knowledge, you know everything, it's just forgotten, or and it's like, I think that what that means, at least to me, is something like, when you actually ask yourself a question and you actually try to answer it objectively, not with your own personal biases and stuff, you're able to be like, oh, that's of course I would do better. Of course I would do worse. You know? And I guess it's like the thing to pursue there is not like intelligence. It's like more so honesty with yourself, you know?
Yeah, and it's a weird openness.
Yeah.
Like there'll be times where I have no idea how to mix the color that I want to mix.
Right.
I know what my end goal might be, but I don't know the exact mixture to get what I want.
Right.
But somehow I'll be like, okay, here's a certain number of colors put together. It's kind of close. What would make this better? And obviously I have experience and like some color theory knowledge, but there are a bunch of times where I don't really know, or like, how am I going to create this particular shade to match with this color? And I'll just ask myself, and I'll like look at what I have available, and my brain will be like, pick that one.
Right.
And I'll add a little bit of that color, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I got there.
Well, I feel like color theory actually doesn't help. You know, that's the fresh. I think it helps, but it's also like, if you're in the moment and you're trying to mix paints on a palette, and you're thinking about triadic relationships and like chromatic and all these technical terms, it's like, you're not painting anymore. You're doing math or something.
Yeah. And that's, I throw all that out the window.
Yeah.
It's just like me with the paint. Right. And again, it's always a question and answer process. And I might fuck it up. It's funny. I tend to I'll waste a good amount of paint because I may only need to make a color for one section that requires this much paint. But in having to like do the lab work to experiment to get to the right space, now I have this much paint, which I'm only going to use that small amount. But I've been trying to figure out how to be more economical with painting, because the prices for shit just keeps going up.
That's crazy.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to like I went to the art store yesterday. I got a tiny little panel and a thing of gesso, and I was out of there for $40.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think I did the same thing. I went and got a sketchbook and I got some Frederick's panels from Artist and Craftsman a couple days ago. And it's like, $40, you know, for everything.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah. I've been wanting to just like go to Home Depot and just get a bunch of masonite and just gesso that because
you can.
Yeah. And it's like,
get birch. You can get sheets of birch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's still fucking expensive.
Yeah. It's cheaper. But
I used to build all my own panels all the time, but it just became it's cost efficient but not time efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I guess it's one of those things to where like nowadays, I mean, it's a conversation that everyone is having. It's like things are getting more expensive.
Yeah.
especially in places like Southern California, but also like AI, you know, it's like there are so many like perceived roadblocks to the future. And I'm not going to claim like I know what the answer is to the future of creativity or anything, but it just seems like it's getting harder and harder to navigate the whole creative world right now.
Yeah, I always get concerned about saying when like things are more difficult now,
Yeah.
because I think they're always difficult,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just different grades that suit the society and time frame that we're in. It's like, you know how like every generation says like the next generation is a bunch of pieces of shit, they're lazy or can't like take care of themselves or whatever, but like every generation says that. So like how much value is there? Is it really, are we degrading as humans that much for generation after generation? I'm sure even like back to the cavemen, they were like, oh, this next generation, they're fucking lazy and stupid.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
You know, like how much value can you put in that? Like maybe it's always hard, or maybe it just always just is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have issues economically that will make things difficult, but maybe it's always like that.
Yeah. I think there's always a way, you know.
I think when we're younger, we're more naive.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't like really recognize it as much. Maybe it's just an experiential thing.
Yeah.
To where it's like, okay, now like I've seen this enough times where it's like, okay, this is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it to me, it always goes back to like the noise thing. Cause if you were to go back, you know, 20 years, 25 years or something, the equivalent would have been like Photoshop coming up, you know,
Yeah.
for photographers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know it's not exactly the same, but it's also like, I think there's always some overarching existential threat to, you know, like there's always a better reason to be a doctor and instead of a painter, you know, like no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like a,
well, I think with AI, designers are at most risk. Because I'm starting to see now, like, people who would have to hire somebody to create a flyer, a poster for something.
Yeah.
That they're able to utilize AR or AI techniques and create media for themselves, which I think is fine. Like, I think as humans, we're adaptive as fuck.
Yeah.
So if one avenue starts to disappear, it's almost like look at like how television is now. Almost nobody has cable television, really. Like everybody just has the apps on their TV and they watch whatever the fuck they want to watch. But that adaptation like happened pretty seamlessly and pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
To where, okay, if TV and radio don't exist anymore, like we're just going to do something else.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for designers who maybe are losing jobs to people just being able to make things on their own, it's just going to make them improve in their skill set and adapt and make something that's, wanted by other people that, or, like the human hand is never going to go away.
Yeah.
From the arts in all aspects. So even if you could make something without having to do anything, like there's never going to be people not making shit, or there's never going to be a lack of people who are appreciating things that are made by a human hand or voice or, whatever.
Well, I guess talking about being adaptive on like the micro scale of painting, there's also like the macro scale where it's like, I'm sure there was somebody that grew up wanting to be like a radio host that ended up being like a CNN host or something, or like hosting a TV show. Yeah. And at the time it might have felt lame or weird or something, and obviously TV is much bigger than radio now. Yeah. You know? And, but it's like version 1 of what you're doing is not going to be version 50 or version.
Yeah. And you can't predict.
Yeah.
You can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like
that's why I just stay focused and like do what you do. Ask yourself the fucking questions. Yeah. And adapt along the way. Nothing is ever static.
Right.
And, like you continually have to grow and change.
Yeah.
Or else potentially you get left behind, or you get fucking vintage and kitschy by continuing to do the old thing.
Totally.
The shit always loops back. Right. Even now there's I feel like a need from younger generations to be attached to like we see it with music. Like there's like a 30-year rule to where like when I was a teenager in the 90s, I was super interested in what was happening in the mid to late 60s, musically, in literature, in movies, and the arts too, right? So we see generations now looking back at the 90s, 30 years ago, of style and fashion and like a way of being, a way of life. And it's kind of cool to see that, like, it's like maybe like more like a figure eight, you know, where it loops back and hits a different time. And I think you can attach yourself to that, or you could adapt with the times, or you could do both.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like there's never a real answer.
There isn't. That's the.
There's no fucking answer.
Yeah.
There's no playbook.
Right.
You know, like, even though we're sitting here talking about maybe a potential playbook of like ways to go, but you never fucking know. And I think for everybody, it's different.
Yeah.
Everyone has a completely different path. That's why it's so important not to get caught up in observing other people and saying, why isn't that happening to me?
Yeah.
Because you're not that person. You're you. And you gotta run through your path. Like, and it's not written. It's not predestined. Like, you're gonna make choices that lead you different ways, and you just hope to make the best choice and get to where you want to go, or not.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely possible too.
And success isn't the end point. That's not the end goal. And it's a spectrum and all that. And I did, like, something I've been talking about a lot lately on the podcast has been like the idea of the doodles in the margins of your math homework in third grade.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what is that? Like, what are you drawing? Like, and you know, if you were to go back to that person in third grade and, you know, analyze like, oh, what should this person be doing for their future? Like, if you were to go forward 20 years, it's like, oh, this is the thing that's going to end up being their print business, or it's going to be their art business.
Yeah.
Or it's going to end up them making a TV show or something. But in the moment, it's like, oh, they should be doing their math homework, you know? And it's like, I think the second you start to try to force someone into a lane, that's when it starts to get really tricky, you know? If they really
or
don't,
you force yourself.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's not natural.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it might come from a place where you just have intentions of fame and wealth.
Right.
You know, and maybe it's not sincere enough.
Yeah.
You know, but
I don't know.
Maybe it becomes sincere. That's even that. Even you might come off starting from a bad starting point.
Yeah.
Halfway through realizing, oh, maybe that wasn't the goal or the ethic or the moral.
Right.
And you find a new path along the way, and you know, get to your work and do what's good for you. I mean, ultimately it has to be good for you.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And you know, like I watched this video of this girl, like a artist TikTok, and she was like, I don't get these artists who are like, I have to do this. Like, I'm worried about financial stability. I'm like, you fucked up.
Yeah.
A long time ago then.
Right.
Like, you're not in the right business. You know, if that's your main concern, you already fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have that inner drive, fucking go to medical school.
Yeah.
Go be a fucking lawyer. Like, you want stability, start a business, maybe be an entrepreneur, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's okay to have that impulse, but also like,
how do you react to it?
Yeah, like how you react to it. Like if it's all like doom and gloom, like, oh, I'm screwed, like I should just do something else, I shouldn't paint, then you're fucked. But if it's like, oh man, maybe I can like start a teaching business, or I could like make a YouTube channel, or I could sell prints, or I could do anything.
Yeah,
You know?
but still paint.
Yeah, but still paint. You know, that's like I was talking to that guy, Stan Prokopenko. He's a guy I worked for a while who has a big YouTube channel, and he was saying something like, you know, if you want to become an artist, like if you had the option between becoming like a lawyer and an artist, but you care way more about art, like moving forward, you're going to be more likely to find the thing that makes you money as an artist versus as a lawyer because you're more interested. Like, you know, if you get into like art restoration, you know, it might not seem like the most glamorous thing, but it's like you're around paintings, you're able like to maybe get super hyper focused on this really niche part of the thing because you care about it.
Seems like a scary industry.
The art restoration. Well, yeah. Well, everything. Yeah.
You just fuck up something that's 500 years old.
Yeah. My friend's granddad restored the Mona Lisa.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Dude, it's like one little mistake. You know, I would like spill soda on it or something.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Scraping it.
Oh shit. But
it's probably not even real anyway.
Oh yeah. It's all fake, man.
That's I think a lot of old paintings are not real.
The whole, I mean,
a lot of old master paintings are not real.
It's all very bizarre. They don't even feel like works of art at a certain point. They feel, you know, they're just something else.
Some weird relic.
Yeah.
I was in London and I saw a Van Gogh piece, and I had never seen anything in person before, and it didn't feel like a real object.
Yeah.
Like it felt like something else.
Right.
So like a strange feeling that I've had.
Holy object.
And I've looked at thousands and thousands of paintings in museums, and this one in particular was like, and it wasn't like a famous painting. It was just like a small little flower painting in a weird spot of the museum too, where it's like it wasn't like on a major display area. It was almost like in a hallway somewhere, and it just felt like an alien object.
Right. It's like you could end up on the news if you were to punch that painting. You could, you know,
probably in jail.
Yeah. It like you would become famous in a way that you like if you wouldn't killed somebody, you wouldn't become as famous. You were to just destroy that precious.
People throwing fucking tomato sauce at paintings and shit.
Yeah. Well, I think speaking on like, you know, there's been a lot of discussion online about how society or people in general don't value art. But I think it's like, if you go to New York and if you go to the Met, you know, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and you just like, it's like on the most valuable piece of land in the most valuable city in the country, one of the most valuable cities in the world, like that land that the Met is on is worth hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. I wouldn't be able to even guess how much it's worth.
Yeah.
But it's like, as a culture, we've decided to like make this giant building that's open to the public where you can go see these priceless works of art, you know, when, you know, if it was all just about efficiency and all just about making as much money as possible, then it would just be apartment complexes or something, you know, like another $1 billion set of apartments or something. You know?
Yeah. It's interesting, right? When people, I mean, there is that battle of like maybe, you know, modern contemporary art,
right?
You know, like the people who are making it now, like there's probably more people who can go to museums as tourists of a city and appreciate it than collectors who are buying, you know, pieces from up and coming new artists or whatever. I feel like there's a divide of the appreciation, because obviously the people who built the Met and fund it and put it together, like, clearly have a huge appreciation and love for the arts. Yeah. But I wonder how many people who are visiting these spaces like, even with the paintings being different, like, or having a different feeling, like, how much of it is like historical, like attached to like a human history versus the actual pieces themselves, like how they make them feel. Like, it's almost like like going to like a wild animal park.
Yeah. Right.
Like I want to see a fucking elephant.
Yeah.
Right. I don't ever see elephants in my day-to-day life.
Right.
I want to see the 500-year-old painting
From some legendary, human being.
Yeah.
Right.
But does that equate to also loving the arts in like the smaller beginner galleries? Or
I don't know. I think it's like, to me, it's like there's for sure levels to it and different reasons that people get into this stuff for. You know, it's like someone being obsessed with like a John Singer Sargent painting and wanting to buy it for $40 million to show off to their friends. It's like, I still appreciate that, and I'm glad there are people like that that are willing to do it.
Yeah.
But to me, it feels more like an ego thing than it is like an actual love of the art, you know?
I heard this gallerist talking from New York about how like people go to museums and it's clearly like things for display for you to view, right? You pay your admission at the front and you're there to view something. But then those same people go into galleries and they don't know if the work is for sale.
Yeah.
They don't know they could even buy it. They might think it's how things go in a large museum where you're just there to view things. You know, so sometimes there's a disconnect in that like appreciation from like a historical aspect to like I love painting.
Yeah.
You know.
Which
is fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just
it's to me it's always weird when I take a second, I just acknowledge every kind of person there is. Like and not just kind of like there's someone who's like obsessed with like making nuclear submarines, and that's their whole life, right? You know. Yeah. And it's like maybe not making nuclear submarines. They're obsessed with making door handles on
the locks. Yeah, door handle.
Right. It's incredibly nuanced. They're better at doing that than I will ever be at being a painter, you know? And it's like, and it's the same thing with art. There's someone that's just obsessed with painting cute dogs or, you know, just with like this really niche part of art history or something, or they're just a curator or they're just a this or whatever. And it's like, there's a trillion ways to exist as a person and still like bring value to other people around you.
Yeah. I believe that we have a symbiosis. Like, and that we're all playing some weird little part along the way, just all little cogs in the larger machine.
Yeah.
And each one is important.
Yeah. Well, and you don't really realize how important it is in the moment, but then after 20 years, you're like, oh, that's what that was for, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like something I've been thinking about for myself is like, you know, when you're 3 years old and you're in a sandbox and somebody pushes you over and you drop your ice cream cone, and you act like that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in the world.
Which it is.
It is. Like, it is. So like relative, like nothing that bad has ever happened to you before. And you react that way, it's a reasonable response, you know?
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, we're just like, our scale for what our version of being pushed over in the sandbox just gets higher and higher.
Yeah. And our version of being reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like, you know, I think eventually it's like everything, like you could get past everything if you just have the right perspective or I think it's more complicated than that, obviously, but it's like, at least when bad things happen to me, it like in the moment, it feels like I'm being pushed over, I'm dropping my ice cream cone, but afterwards I'm like, oh, you know, like it was like, okay, you know, for that to have happened, you know?
For me, I'm always thinking about how do I change it?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a key to survival. It's like, shit is not going the way that I'm expecting it to. How do I change it?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And that could be fucking depressing. It's easy for our brain chemistry to just not push us through that space. So I say these things knowing that there's other limitations that people will have along the way. But if you just keep asking yourself, like, how do I change it? Without being fixated on this has to change.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's the delineation there of like, how can I fix this? Or why hasn't this been fixed?
Yeah.
You know, like framing the questions in a way can be mentally more helpful and maybe not as painful.
I also think that like taking some measure of responsibility over it too. Like I think that not everyone can solve every problem in their own life, but they can at least influence it in some way, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one too because there's so many outside influences that can affect any circumstance.
Right.
To take some of the sort of lack of credit, if you will, personally, versus like player A fucked me. This person didn't do what I needed them to do. This society didn't perform the way that I wanted it to, whatever. Like that shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you're going to face things that are unfair.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to rephrase that. I think it's something like doing what you have control over, you know, versus what you don't have control over. Cause like I have no control over like who's president, what's happening in the government or the world at all. But I have control over like making a better podcast or something. You know?
Yeah.
And maybe that'll like make someone's life marginally better in some way. And
yeah, that's more of like a refocus, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because I think that's hard for people. Like when you want to make some change or towards, I mean, we see it now, like with what's happening in Los Angeles with the protests and stuff. It's like people wanting to make a change to something that's immoral or unethical, but also have no power.
Yeah.
You know, the tension and the anxiety that can come from that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. And like you like try to force yourself to do something. But I think what you're saying is perfect. Like the more you make yourself better or, you know, moving forward with yourself, the more you're going to see the society change in a way, like even just based on perspective. But, you know, then there's the like flip side of that of like, fuck, you should do everything that you can to fight against, you know, in this case, oppression or, you know, fascism.
Well, I think, again, that's always the rough part because no matter what you're doing, it's like you're doing the wrong and right thing at the same time.
No answer.
Yeah, there's no answer.
No fucking answer.
It's like, again, it goes back to that thing. It's like, do you become a doctor or a painter? You know, there's always like, should be a doctor or some political activist, or should you be, you know, earning as much money as you possibly can to donate to charitable causes? And it's like, the answer is always like, you can talk yourself out of doing anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
If you just think about it for a second, you know?
Yeah.
And
there's a Jeffrey Lewis song where he talks about how he got into the arts because he wanted to, you know, change the world and like, and like make things better or like fight against oppressive forces or whatever. And he's at a state in the nature of the song, he gets to a point where he's like, I can't even tell if the art is benefiting me,
right,
let alone anybody else, you know, which is a common feeling. But yeah, I control is a motherfucker.
It's hard,
really, because I think we all want to really control our environments as much as we can. The ability to let go of that control, that could be a swift kick in the nuts.
Yeah, well, I think people sometimes attribute their own like success or failure to just sort of arbitrary things. Like if you decide to be like a horse carriage guy that gives people tours around Central Park, you're immediately like capping your income at a certain point. Like, or if you become a painter or anything, it's like a lot of someone's success is just what market are they in, you know?
Yeah.
Like if someone is existing in like the New York elitist painter market, you're probably going to make more money than someone in like Alaska or something, or or like North Dakota. Just space. It's not you at all. It's like the spot you're in, you know?
Yeah. And that success is such a spectrum of, you know, definition.
Right.
You know, and I think it's important for people to know that they could define that how they see fit. Yeah. You know, like sometimes for me, success is just finishing a painting. Right. That feels successful to me.
Well, and I think, and I meet people all the time who are like, from my perspective, I don't want to be patronizing or condescending to these people, but they have jobs that I would not want to do personally. Like they're a mailman in Ohio or something, you know? And I see that as like, that's something I'd want to do. But then I look at their lives and they're perfectly happy, you know? And I'm like, wow, it's like maybe there's something I'm missing, you know? It's like someone is able to get like way more out of life than I am, at least on the surface. But they have like a job or they're doing something that I'm like, oh, that's like something I would never aspire to do, you know?
Yeah.
And
But that could be a mystery too.
yeah.
Like people could say how great they feel about their Ohio postman job and maybe not actually mean it.
Well, but
I mean, maybe if you have somebody being honest, then I suppose.
assuming this person is being honest.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there has to be at least one, right? Like somebody who, I mean, maybe they're not completely validated, but they have some job where it's not.
But I think what happens is the validation comes from someplace else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like the job is just a means to an end to where like maybe they built a family, had a nice home and, you know, raised their kids, put them through college or whatever. And that's where they find their contentment.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where things feel good.
Yeah.
So I mean, painting can feel shitty sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it could be monotonous and fucking boring and you can want it to just be done with, but you finish it and you're like,
Right.
that feels good.
Yeah.
So sometimes that space in between is really just a means to an end to procure that happiness.
And maybe that person has, you know, and it's like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
it doesn't need to be
And we just don't know it because our end
yeah.
does it, like that's not our goal.
Right.
You know, so or it could be, but like, you know, we don't have the finish line looks different.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's like that pursuit of glamour. It's like, I guess going back to like a lot of someone's own success is just determined on what market they're in. Like if someone's a brilliant plumber or brilliant, you know, whatever. I mean, I guess plumbers make a lot of money, but
Yeah, I think they do good.
yeah, they do really well. But it's like, I guess the best plumber is probably not making as much money as the best software engineer or something, you know?
Yes.
And maybe that person is suited to both jobs. If they just chose software engineering, they could like 10x or 20x or 100x their income or something, you know? But, you know, and I think if someone's making more or less money, they shouldn't feel bad about it. You know, it's like these arbitrary decisions or these influences we had when we were kids led us to being painters, plumbers, electricians, software engineers, whatever, politicians, and being okay with wherever we've landed, you know, for whatever reasons. I think that's sort of where I'm trying to be.
Yeah, I really think that we don't even really control much of that anyway.
Yeah.
You know, try to make the best choices and see what happens.
Right.
But I wonder if there are people who grow up and they're like, I'm gonna be a motherfucking plumber. I'm gonna be the best fucking plumber
man.
that has ever existed.
Dude, I go on YouTube and I see some of these guys who they have like 5 million subscriber YouTube channel, and they're just doing home improvement. They'll tell you how to like spackle a wall or change, you know, something in your toilet. Yeah, and they'll get hundreds of thousands of views, and you know, I mean,
but you wonder, you know, are they more concerned about doing like is it leading into it like, okay, I want to make this amount of money a year so that I could do A, B, and C, or is it fuck, I want to be really good at this practice?
I think it's like when I've gone through and I like had people who are like in programming or in like plumbing or in they're electricians explain good like electricity or plumbing work to me, that I start to appreciate it in the same way I like appreciate art.
Yeah,
you know,
that's funny, right?
Like I've been going on TikTok and I've been seeing people doing like under house maintenance or something, to where it's like they'll take a really messy basement or something and they'll clean it up and make it really nice. No one will ever see it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like clean, organized and stuff, and people seem to like that. Or I've been, I guess, going on TikTok or Instagram and seeing this guy like SB mowing or something, where he'll go up to people's house.
Oh yeah. I've seen that guy,
and he'll mow their lawn and make it look really.
It always seems to catch flack.
I don't know.
People come by and start talking shit.
Yeah, and like some police or something.
Yeah, try to call the cops on them. Yeah, that one's weird. I think of like welders.
Yeah,
like when you start welding, I have no experience, but like your welds are shitty. They barely hold metal together. They look like shit.
Right.
And there's an innate like drive to do really clean, perfect welds.
Yeah. Right.
Right. They're not really changing the price of the amount of money that they're making a year.
Right.
But they do have a drive to
Be better at it.
to be better at it, and like they want to make things cleanly.
Yeah.
Right. Which is it's like the exact same thing as painting.
Yeah. Well, I think again, people glamorize painting, but it's mechanically very tedious. It's like, what's this color relative to this color, relative to this color?
Yeah.
And over time, it becomes this cool artifact.
Yeah. It might as well be programming.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I do stand by the idea that a lot of jobs are just mechanically the same.
Why do you think it's so romanticized?
I don't know. I think it's like it's color. I don't know. It's like I think it's like you can't hand somebody a cool weld and be like, look at this shit. You could hand somebody a painting and be like, look at this painting, look at this Frank Frazetta painting or something, and be like, look, this is sick, But
there's got to be something in us that creates that fascination. Because I know, so like I golf all the time, and me and my buddy play, and it's usually like during the week, during the day. So if there's other people that we're playing with, usually like retired old guys, they'll be like, oh, what do you do? How are you out here on a Monday at 11 p.m.? And we'll tell our stories. And whenever I say like, oh, I'm an artist, it's like their little eyebrows pop up and their ears perk up and they're like, wait, what? How do you? And my buddy, he's in the service industry. They'll be like, oh, okay, where do you work? Okay, cool. But really, we're not doing that much.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We're just out like spending our time doing whatever. But for some reason, there's this like romanticized sort of magician-esque like aspect to somebody being an artist. And then I don't, even after all this time, I don't really know what it is.
I think it's like, I think there's that history behind it, or that like obsession with like idolizing famous painters like Leonardo da Vinci or something, like these genius people. I also think that it's hard to make a living from it, so to hear somebody like, oh, they've managed to like figure it out, it's like, oh man, okay, like they're different.
Maybe you don't hear it so often.
There's kind of a novelty to it as well. If people saw my actual day-to-day, like editing this podcast, most of the work is going to be me sitting at that computer and just like cutting stuff, making sure the audio sounds good. Like 8 hours of just like me figuring out how to make it work technically.
Nobody would want to watch me crouched over a painting in bad posture for 6 hours. It would seem so boring and mundane.
Well, I think it's like, I mean, it is strange because like some of my favorite paintings that I like, I would still pay money to like watch them being done, like I am a giant John Singer Sargent fan, and if there was video of him doing like Madame X or something, whatever, I would love to see that. That'd be fucking rad. But I wouldn't say the same thing about like the Empire State Building or something. Or
it's still a marvel, but it's like, okay, I don't need to see all this steel.
I think
framed up.
Maybe for an artist, it's a singular person doing this like cool piece of work, where it's like if you're working in the service industry, or if you're a programmer or something, you're watching a bunch of people working on something that comes up together. It's like to build a website, you have like the programmers and the UI guys and the designers and all that, but
the fact that it's so singular,
that it's just like, oh, it's a one person team. But it's odd.
Because I don't know how a shoe is made. But somebody makes it.
Shoes are a miracle.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're very useful.
Like,
but I'm not like, okay, I have to see how that shoe was made.
I think, it.
Or even wonder, like I might look at a shoe and not consider its process at all. But I think with painting, one of the first questions is like, how did you do that?
Right.
Maybe therein lies some of the mystique. I don't know.
I think for people who don't paint and who have never painted, there's this idea that it is completely like, oh, they're like a blessed person, or they're they have some sacred, saying, I could do that or something. And I mean, there's a romanticization of Vincent van Gogh who, killed himself, but he created these works of art. And it's like,
Yeah.
maybe it's that suffering or something, or, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I sometimes wish I was a little manic.
Yeah.
I think it helps with the
It'd be good for business. Yeah.
creative process.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm too normal.
Yeah. I think if we were
Balanced.
well, I think if we were to get a look into like Picasso's day-to-day life, it'd be very boring, just
I don't know. That dude was f***ing crazy as too.
yeah, I guess so. I think everyone's crazy in their own way, but
I think the like super geniuses are always like a little mentally unstable.
yeah. I think so too. I'm trying to think like our modern version of like the people that are going to be remembered historical figures, like Elon Musk is like mentally unstable, but also like it's actually surrounded by controversy, all these crazy things, but also I don't know.
Well, sometimes the story builds
Yeah.
more than the work does.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we see. Maybe what we see in like long-term historical artists is the story. And that's, I hate over-explaining a painting, but there might be value in it.
Yeah.
I used to think that like I overshared on like meaning or process or, ideas, but it might be more important than I think it is.
Yeah.
But that the outside story becomes important. I think that's what ends up being like what a lot of collectors buy,
Right.
is the story more than the piece. Maybe that's the 10%, those narcissistic assholes.
I think that often that's like the people who have money to spend money on paintings. It's like I've been. Do you know Mark Majori on Instagram? He does these like epic Western things. I'll bring him up real quick. He's like the most popular like Western painter.
Do you do the bronze sculptures too?
I don't know if he does, but he.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I like Mark a lot in his work, but it's like the way he dresses. Like he dresses like a cowboy. He I've never met him. I don't know anything about him, but it's like that story of him being like a painter, being like a Western painter is definitely all there. Like if he plays video games or something, or is doing other things other than painting and riding horses, he shows none of that.
I kind of had a similar situation with jiu-jitsu where I was talking with my other professor, and I was saying like it's kind of funny, like he has cauliflower ear and I don't.
Yeah.
But I was saying like if we're out in public, we don't really look like grapplers.
Right.
Like we don't look like we're fighters. Like we just look like regular normal dudes. But then there'll be times where I see somebody who it's like, I know you've been grappling for 10 years. Like the shape of your body, it's almost like you were born for it. Like the shape of your head and your shoulders and your body. Like I know what you've done.
Right.
Just by the visual, And that like back to the art thing, like I don't know that if I were walking down the street that somebody would think that I was an artist.
Right.
Or they could tell if I told them that I was an artist, they couldn't tell what I made.
Right.
Versus somebody who's dressed up like a fucking cowboy.
Yeah. Like a cowboy painter. Yeah.
And who knows? It might be completely unintentional.
I think he's authentically like.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying he's like being disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's like it definitely helps. I think with his perception of being a painter to these people.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to a Western show for painters and you're selling a painting for $100,000, which he does.
And you're in a tuxedo,
or you're in sneakers and shorts and stuff. People like that might like turn people off from buying a painting from you. You know,
it's interesting. That's what I've tried to. I've almost like kept my. I mean, I feel like when I was younger, I tried to put my style out there, or like my story, or like was very open about who I was as a person, and hoped that related to the work. And lately, I feel like the last like 10 years or so, I've been more private and just let the work do the talking. Like I'm almost like if I post something, I'm almost never putting my face up there. Like I've tried, like I fucking hate when people who are handsome or pretty take a photo in front of their painting, but they're in front of the painting.
Right.
It's like you're giving me a photo of yourself with your painting as a backdrop.
Yeah.
Like go fuck yourself. I know what you're doing.
Right.
Maybe I'm jealous because I can't do the same thing, but
Yeah.
you know, but I find an annoyance by it. Like,
right.
and maybe I shouldn't, but it's just my natural reaction of like, if you want to be in the photo, stand behind your painting.
Right.
I don't need to see you.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point? And then maybe that's the thing. Maybe that is the point of like, here's me. I'm the one. I see it a lot, actually. Like people like doing like in process shots where it's them painting,
right?
But you see them in only like a portion of the painting versus somebody who's doing like a time lapse where it's like all you see is their hand, you know, doing the painting or part of their arm or something. It's sometimes it could. I think this idea of putting yourself out there ahead of the work seems a little gross as a practitioner, but now that we're saying this, like maybe it does have a marketing aspect to it that's maybe important.
Doing the YouTube stuff has been strange because like I feel like I've been getting really obsessed with thumbnails and titles lately, and it's so it's lame in some way, but it's also
I know,
but it's useful. But it's like on YouTube you could test 3 different thumbnails that'll be shown to different parts of your audience, and you could see which one performs better. You know? And always,
I see that all the time. I watch a lot of gambling videos. And all the different creators, it's like they use the same like title. Graphic designer,
absolutely,
to like blow out the images the way that they want them. Like the titles are always very similar. Like it makes sense.
Well, it's interesting. Because I'll show you the tests afterwards, but it's interesting seeing them because like I'll do 3 different tests. It'll be like one of the painter's painting with like a little quote over it, one of like a different painting, and then one of the painter actually painting, like a photograph of that person painting the thing. And in this particular example, that one was 3 times as much engagement.
So wild.
And this video got like 50,000 views, so it's not like it's arbitrary. The sample size is relatively large. It's like there is like a clear preference of people consuming this particular type of media just to see the painter actually doing the thing, you know. And like I guarantee, like if for this thumbnail and title for this episode, if I put like Rogan in it in some way, like be as clickbaity as possible, no shame, whatever. I guarantee you it'll get more views than like just.
So wow, humans are so
it's like
stupid.
But but like seeing that reflected in like the actual views and numbers of things, and then also like seeing that reflected in the actual like the business stuff and how that translates to money is always so
it's subconscious, right?
It's all subconscious. The
3 images could be of equal quality.
Yeah, totally.
But there's something. Do you know what it is that's in the? Like, is it discernible as to why one got more clicks than the other?
I'll show you one. So I uploaded a video yesterday and it was underperforming, and then I changed the thumbnail and title, and there was like a visible like slight uptick in the way it was getting views. So here's version 1 of it. I'll show it on the screen just for people. So it's a person who does convention artwork. It's not like, and then the title of the video is like why your artwork isn't selling or something or whatever, and how to fix it. And so this was underperforming, and then I changed it to this, and there was like a visible like a slight.
So let me ask you this, because I have a theory. Do you think it's the algorithm pushing it to more people, or do you think it's people making a more conscious choice to click?
I think it's that.
Really? Because here's what I think. I've noticed that when there's humans, so like I'll use Instagram, like an Instagram story as an example. when there's humans like in the image, I've noticed a significant uptick in views.
Right.
But when there isn't, it's significantly lower.
Right.
So I have to ask myself, is there a pattern in the algorithm, sort of
To recognize people.
to recognize when there's people in there and to push that further than something that lacks a human image? Because that was the noticeable difference that I see here.
The person
is that the
being
guy is in there.
Right. I think it's a combination of both, because I think it's like, I think it's like the chicken before the egg sort of thing. Because I think that thumbnail is inherently more engaging because the guy is in there, but it's also like more people are clicking on it, so the impressions go up, so it's seen by more people, so more people click on it.
Or is there something that's more visually appealing?
Well,
Like, is there a color balance that's greater in the one that has the guy in it? That, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I also think that the algorithm reflects just human psychology. Like, they have psychologists working for them that are designing these algorithms that are like, oh, what do people prefer? So,
right.
So it's like,
it's not like, what do we choose to prefer, make them prefer?
Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, for them, it's like, what gets people clicking on this stuff so we can sell ads, you know?
Yeah. That's ultimately what everything is for.
Yeah. For advertising.
To sell advertising, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
All the medias that we've talked about, it's all just to sell you shit that you probably don't need. Maybe you do need.
Yeah.
But most likely not.
Well, all my favorite painters, it's like JC Weindecker, huge fan of him. He was just like when you break him down, he was just a corporate doing magazine covers, you know?
Yeah.
John Singer Sargent painted rich people so they could show their friends that they got a John Singer Sargent painting. You know, it's like, and I guess it's all like peacocking or something.
Yeah, we're all just retail assholes at the end of the day.
Right. If I could go and make a print and sell it at Walmart and make $1 million from it, I would 100% do that.
I would too, yeah.
Like it. Right. And it's like, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like there is this like maybe romanticization of selling paintings at a gallery or doing whatever, but I think it's like at the end of the day, it's all the same thing, all the same.
Yeah, that's hard to come to grips with.
Like there's this, at least in the community, like the art education community on YouTube, people wanting to get into video games and stuff. There's like a desire to go work at Riot and stuff, and to like, because it's like, oh, you're working on something that's culturally significant and moving the needle, and there's a Netflix show and stuff around League of Legends and all that. But it's like they're doing like the same predatory sort of marketing on people that like any mobile game is doing.
Yeah,
it's like there are people that will go and spend $10,000 a year on skins that enables people to like have these jobs where they're painting these beautiful works of art and stuff.
Yeah,
you know. To me, it's like a version of just like the Sistine Chapel, just on like a different scale, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all strange.
It's just ad sales at the end of the day.
But I guess going back to the psychology thing, it's like for me, it's helped me, like, I don't know if helped me, but it's let me like be a little bit more objective with the way I made these things, because it's like, oh, there's like a visible preference in the way that people prefer the thing I'm doing, you know? And I'd say that's like the thing that's influencing at least the way I present these things more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you're even aware of it to begin with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that you could be blinded by so many other things and not even realize.
Yeah.
You know, it would just be the world against us. That's why we're not getting views type of deal. Or
well, I feel like it's my version of like, if I can't, like, as long as I get to have these conversations, then it's like there's that's the goal, you know?
Yeah.
And if they're seen by people, then it enables me to like do them more and hopefully helps more people. And so
you never know who it helps.
But it's like the price of that is having to be a little bit more clickbaity, and, you know.
Yeah, you got to play the game a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to go put paint all over my pants and shred my shirt up so that when I'm walking the streets, everybody knows.
Yeah.
It might help.
Yeah. You're an artist.
Maybe I'll sell more paintings.
Yeah. Like, I'm like David Cho, you know, he's interesting just because he sells paintings for so much, and I sold painting for so much, and his presentation is just so crazy, you know?
Yeah. He might be one of those manic artists.
Yeah. Yeah. But Cool. We've been going for about an hour and a half.
Really?
Is there
That's
any...
fast.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or?
Oh, I think I'm good.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah.
How should people follow you on the internet?
I'm at Mike Maxwell Art on everything. I'm actually building a new website right now, like as if it's 2002.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine who...
that up here shortly.
I'll put it on the screen and stuff. I was talking to a buddy of mine who does like own website and stuff, and he says he gets more sales from his own personal website than any other thing.
Well, that's what I've been thinking. So like I built mine so long ago, maybe actually in 2002.
Yeah.
And the way that I built it that long ago doesn't actually work anymore. Like it doesn't work. Nobody had cell phones when I built it.
Yeah.
So it's like I did all the coding for the whole thing.
Right.
And so it's completely lacks all function.
Yeah.
It's just existing without being able to even be viewed. So I'm like, all right, fuck, I'll finally go in and fix this thing.
Yeah.
Try to get it up, and maybe that'll be my my clickbait to get people to buy more.
Yeah.
View more things.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate the sales. I hate the marketing aspect of this business. I know that I have to do it, but I fucking hate it.
Everyone does. Yeah. The people that are... Yeah. I think it is actually just... It is counterintuitive and counterproductive to the actual artwork itself. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm becoming more famous doing this like whole thumbnail title thing, but I'm making way less artwork, you know, because I'm like just focusing on just like, how do I get as many views as possible?
Yeah, just thinking at it from a little bit of the wrong perspective, but with the right intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like try to just like maximize the reception of something just to like enable me to do it more. Which
Yeah, but you might be able to switch it up.
yeah, totally.
You know, once you've built the viewership,
Right.
then you could take a different angle.
Yeah.
Just do all black. You know what I saw recently? I was looking at videos, I was looking something up and I don't remember what it was, but all of the thumbnails were all like super bright and poppy and like look like a Master P album from like 1994. But one thumbnail of all the videos in the search was like a really cool like black and gray image.
Yeah.
And it stood out
Right.
like separate from all of the other images.
Yeah.
And it did make me want to click that one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and I'm pretty sure that I did, because it was so unique in the grouping of videos.
Well, I guess going back to that, there are no rules for this stuff. Like if you look at Rogan, his podcast, it's all just not playing by that game at all. Just him and the guest, and then the title is just his podcast number or whatever, you know. And it's like you can totally circumvent this stuff if what you're making and what you're doing is just inherently good, you know.
Yeah.
I think the things like these things are just ways of maybe just like cheating the system, or like for Moneyball, the movie, just trying to like break the system in some way or something, you know. But
which is like a fun little game in and of itself too. Like, how do you game the system?
Yeah.
Like first you have to understand the system. Yeah. Then you understand the like inner workings, and then how to manipulate those inner workings. That's an art form in and of itself too.
It's bizarre. Have you ever seen Mr. Beast talk about this stuff?
No.
It's interesting because like he's become, his channel is like 500 million subscribers or something at this point. Yeah. It's massive. And like the way he talked about stuff is like, if you can get a video over 7 minutes of retention rate, or like 80% retention rate, then it'll go mega viral. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. Like if you can just make your video as engaging as possible, like like that 1% difference between it getting like 79% retention and 80% retention is like a 20 million view difference.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And it's like that little bit of push, that little bit of things that you could do. It's like kind of robotic, or, you know, maybe not the way I want to make artwork exactly, but it's
in that world, though.
It's interesting to see how like you can just pull this lever of like thumbnail, title, editing, and then that will make the video like, again, it's not the video itself, it's the presentation of the video that ends up changing everything, you know.
We're some surface ass motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude, I'm for sure. Yeah. Dude, yeah.
But I mean, even the viewership, like for people to make those clickable choices like that, is fucking funny.
It's strange. Yeah. But
All right.
alrighty, homie. Cool. Cool. I'll put it there.